Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gary from on Fan TV, man. Back at you on this video. Like the content of this video, go and smash that like on the content of this channel. Go ahead, subscribe, man. Look, so today what I want to talk about is the idea or the concept of peaking too soon as a team, and is that something that the Ravens realistically have to worry about? Or is that something that should even be concerned about, right? Now, starting off with this idea of peaking too soon, it always comes off when you have a team that is playing really well, how the Ravens are playing well right now, and people are assuming that they've reached the peak. And obviously, after the peak comes the downfall, right? They're going to slide back down. They're playing too good, too soon, and that inevitably comes the fall, right? Now, for the Ravens, do I see that happening, right? Now, there's a couple reasons I want to talk about this, right? I wasn't even debating should I even do this video, but I think it is worth something worth talking about because the Ravens are truly playing like one of, if not the best team in the NFL right now, right? Now, when I say do I think the Ravens are too good too soon or have they peaked too early? Me personally, I don't really believe in the concept, right? And here's why, right? Because a lot of times we have these teams that are too good too soon or they're peaking or whatever. A lot of times it's false hope, right? They're having things that's happening for them that are lucky victories. They're having things that are something that's not sustainable that's going on for them that's making them have these wins, right? I kind of think of a team like last year, right? Last year, like Minnesota Vikings, right? Not to throw any shots at the Vikings or anything like that, but just for an example, they won a bunch of games, a bunch of one possession games, right? A bunch of games that where one play here or there, instead of winning, 12, 13 games, whatever they won last year, they could have won 7 games. You know what I mean? So they were kind of relying on that kind of luck, and that pushed them forward, right? So when I look at the Ravens team this year, I don't see that same kind of thing. So at least on defense, right? The reason I don't say it's a peaking too soon kind of thing is because they're getting it from all over the place, right? You have multiple different guys having good years, so it's not like they're dependent on one guy to say, "Hey, look, this is the star guy. He's playing way above his level, and we can't have anybody to match this." Right now, Geno Stone might be the guy you look at and say, "Well, Geno Stone coming into this year, you never expect him to get 6 interceptions." That's very true. But at the end of the day, Geno Stone last year played at a really high level, and now this year he's doing the same thing. Now he's just getting his hands on the ball, right? When the Ravens you look at the Ravens defensive line, you got Oweh, you got Clowney, you got Matabike, you got Kyle Van Noy, you got Michael Pierce playing well. It's a bunch of guys across the Ravens defensive line that's all doing their job and playing well. Then behind that, you got Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen who are holding it down as probably the best linebacker duo in the NFL. So when I look at the Ravens on defense, a lot of stuff is sustainable, right? A lot of things that they're doing, I don't think drops off, right? Brandon Stevens is having a truly a kind of elite kind of year, right? He's taking that jump. He's gone from a corner that was probably on the below average side to good, right? And it happens, right? Sometimes it happens later with different kinds of players. With a guy like Brandon Stevens, he's been moved from corner to safety, corner to safety, corner to safety. Now he's finally found a home, right? Marlon Humphrey, we know the kind of level of play that he's at. Kyle Hamilton, same thing, right? We know the kind of level of player that he's at. So when I look at the Ravens defense, last year at the end of the season, after the Roquan Smith trade and things like that, when everything kind of stabled out and settled down a little bit, they were playing at an elite level defensively, right? So now this year they've just taken it up another notch, right? Then also it's not just the players, it's the guy who's calling the plays, Mike Macdonald, with the scheme. So if your scheme is good, your players are playing good in the scheme, I'm not going to say there's any fluke. If anything, the fluke has gone against the Ravens this year, right? The Steelers game, 8 drops, right? The Colts game, now they did play poorly in that game offensively, but at the end of the day, Zay Flowers gets a pass interference call on him. Well, sorry, a pass interference not called for him. That, if the Ravens get that call, they're still driving down the field, have potential to kick the game-winning field goal. So if anything, the fluke has gone against the Ravens, right? So defensively, they're really solid, and what they're doing is real things. Like, it's not nothing that, oh, they got lucky here and there. Like, no, they're really stifling defenses with scheme and players playing really well, right? Then offensively is where you can look at it and be like, well, if that's the case, the Ravens definitely are peaking too soon because the offense is just coming together. Lamar is playing better. The wide receivers are playing better. The offensive line is really holding it down. I mean, this game for Seattle, Pat McCarry comes in starting at right tackle, doesn't give up a pressure, doesn't give up a sack. Versus Seattle defense that was averaging almost 4 sacks a game, right? So that's impressive, okay? And this Ravens offense is an offense where they could play a lot better, right? And that's crazy saying that the last 3 weeks they've scored 30 plus points. but they could play a lot better. They really could, right? So I don't really get caught up in the counting numbers and the counting stats for Lamar Jackson, things like that. I saw the thing with Eric Mangini, and oh well, I'm impressed with the completion percentage of Lamar Jackson, but he only has 9 touchdown passes. Listen, as a former head coach, it's shameful that you don't actually watch the games and know what's going on in the games to see that Lamar Jackson is playing at a very, very high level, and all you're doing is doing the counting number stats. That's watching the box score. That's something that you would expect from a casual fan or somebody like that. But for a former NFL head coach, and we see why he never got the opportunity again, um, that's just not good, right? So anyway, I'm not even worried about that. But for this Ravens offense, this is the kind of part of the team where I think it gets scary for the rest of the league, right? It's if the Ravens offense finds a consistent level where they're good drive in, drive out, quarter to quarter. Now you're already scoring 30 points and you're not having that level of consistency. You add that level of consistency, now you're reaching an even higher level, right? So I don't think this Ravens team is fully grooved on what they're doing, right? So a lot of comparisons have been made between this team and 2019 just due to the size of some of the victories, the kind of path that they're on, and kind of going through teams. But I would say in 2019, the Ravens offense was a little smoother just because they knew exactly what they were going to do week in, week out, right? This offense, they're still trying to figure that out, right? And even though in 2019 it was the first year, they had ran some of the things they had ran the previous year, when Lamar Jackson was a rookie. So they just added a pun to that. But this year's a brand new offense, everything's brand new, and they're still working out some of the kinks in that, right? And you got players that are coming back even better. Odell Beckham looks a lot better. He had the fumble, yes, but watching the game again, he looks good coming in and out of his breaks, right? He probably is still best in the slot, but still, he did some good work on the outside. Rashad Bateman is running past defenders again. He looks like he has that speed and that burst again. Him and Lamar Jackson had a nice play where Lamar just had to hang out in the pocket a little bit. Rashad Bateman readjusts, finds a soft spot in the zone. Lamar finds him. You know what I mean? That's the kind of things that are important, and why I say this Ravens team is nowhere near peaking too soon, because they still have things to work out, especially offensively, right? We talk about the fumble issues and things like that. And now you got a new guy with Keaton Mitchell who is playing really well, or at least played really well the last game. And he gives the Ravens a different element to the offense, right? That flat out speed out of the backfield that they haven't really had. Now, Justice Hill has done some nice things, but Keaton Mitchell's level of speed is very, very different from what the Ravens currently have on the roster, right? So when I look at the idea of, yes, nobody cares about if you're the best team in week 10. Nobody cares about right now, you're the best team when it's only November, right? That's all that kind of things is true, and I do agree with that to a certain nature. But I wouldn't downplay as what the Ravens are doing right now as non-important or unimpressive. What they're doing is very, very impressive. And especially if you look at it as things that it's not fluke, it's not luck, it's not, or this could have went this or that way. They're dominating people on both sides of the ball, right? So when you look at that and you look at really how the Ravens are playing right now, they can't be peaking too soon because there's still another level for them to reach. And if they reach that kind of level, this is a true Super Bowl kind of team. And that's the kind of aspirations that they should have, and I'm sure that they do. So when I saw really, I saw it from different fans, things like that. Oh, the Ravens are going to fall off later on in the year. They always do. I mean, if we think about it, the only thing that's really kept the Ravens from being a legitimate kind of team has been injuries, right? And as of right now, they are as healthy as they ever been, right? In the last couple years or so. So if that's something that continues, I don't see how they fall off just because, right? Especially when they have better football to play all around. So that's my thoughts. That's my opinion on it. Are the Ravens peaking too soon? I don't see that. I see that they have another level to reach, especially offensively and defensively. It's so many different guys playing well. It's hard to say that everybody's peaking at the exact same time. It just doesn't happen like that. So it has to be a real scheme, has to be real players doing real things out there, and not just fluke or luck or anything like that. And this Ravens team, I see them only getting better. Does that mean they're going to blow every opponent from this point on? No, of course not. All the other teams in the NFL are very good as well. Your Chiefs, your Bengals, whoever, they're very good as well. But I don't see the Ravens having a tremendous fall off, right? We'll see what happens from here, but I just don't see that happening. So that's my thoughts on it. That's my opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think. Are the Ravens peaking too soon? Do you believe in peaking too soon? In my opinion, they're not peaking too soon, and I think that concept is a little overrated. That's just my opinion on it. So, but I'm gonna get out of here. It's Gabriel, 2000 Fan TV. I'm out.